Hello, it's Crafty Kristen once again with Ministry to Children. And today we're going to do a craft that goes along with the story of the Pharisee and the tax collector. But this craft is sort of focused on the element of prayer. Now, there are always plenty of things that you can do to this effect, but we're going to make two things today. We're going to make one main craft that I would suggest goes along with your lesson, and we're going to do another one that sort of is more of something you might do during the lesson, and it can get a little iffy, but it's still really fun to do with the kids. So the first main craft, you're going to need some envelopes, or envelopes if you prefer, just regular letter size standard envelopes. You're going to need some tape, scissors, decorative supplies, and if you want to get extra fancy or you have more time with this, you can also use some sort of felt or cloth or foam. This is also great if you have maybe older students or students who are really crafty or students who are even learning how to sew. You can sew something like this, but I'm going to show you how to do the standard paper version, which is the simplest way. If you want to get extra fancy, go for it. And you're also going to need some note cards or some sort of paper that's been cut up that will fit into your envelope. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to be making a little prayer reminder. So this is something that kids can either carry around with them, maybe tuck in a homework notebook, or make a bookmark of sorts, or maybe they could even hang it up if they have a command strip or a hook that you could hang on to, hang up somewhere in their house, or magnet it to the refrigerator, or however they prefer to do it. Stick it on your window, whatever, but it's going to just be kind of like a special little prayer reminder. So you're going to start by having the kids or helping them cut off that top triangle part of the envelope because we don't need that. So you're just going to simply snip it off. Again, younger ones may need assistance with the cutting part, or maybe they're learning how to use their scissors and it's going to be a jagged edge. That's fine. So now you have your regular envelope. Now you're going to just decorate this, and you can do that in a number of ways, but you're going to need to shorten it a little bit before you decorate it. So have the kids just fold over a little piece of their envelope. I mean, really, just like a half an inch. But it doesn't matter if it's a little bigger or a little smaller. That doesn't make a big difference. You just want it to be kind of more of a square than a rectangle. So have them fold that over, and then you can help them tape it, or you can have them tape it. You can glue this as well, but I would kind of suggest tape partly for the extra security, and partly because if you glue it, then you're gonna have to wait for it to dry before you do anything else. And some kids just don't want to wait for the glue to dry, let's face it. Unless, of course, they smear it on their skin like I used to do, and then peel it off for fun later. But we'll talk about that more in our next leprosy lesson. Anyways, so now you have your little pocket envelope, and you're going to have the kids decorate it. They can throw on some fun stickers. They can use markers, and encourage them to write an example of something to do with prayer. So maybe they could write, pray every day, or they could write, don't forget to pray, or God always hears me, or something to remind them that this is their little prayer pocket. And of course, you can go as elaborate as you want. You can give some colored pencils and have them turn it into a whole beautiful rainbow galaxy, or however you want to do it. And then you're going to have them decorate the note card. Now, what I suggest to do on this note card is to write something that will help them with prayer. So some people might like to write an acronym of sorts. Some people like to use the acronym of JOY, especially going with our humility lesson, which stands for Jesus, others, yourself, or you may wish, there we go, or you may wish to write out another kind of acronym for how to pray. So some people will use this acronym of ACTS. adoration, confession, thanksgiving, supplication. Apologize, that's backwards. And that can kind of remind you of some ways to pray. And you can talk about what those things mean. Or you could give them several note cards and they can make them into prayer requests. So they can write things they're praying for, like my grandma, my dog's foot, my homework, my teacher, my friend. They can write those down, and then they can have a whole bunch of little prayer reminders to slip into their fun little envelope. And again, it can be fun if you have like some colorful envelopes maybe, or you have the cloth if you want to get fancier with it. Plenty of ways to do this, but it's just a fun little thing that they can take with them. If you want to make it a little smaller, they could fit it in their pocket, or they could hang it up, put it in a locker, put it in a binder, depending on what their situation is and how old they are. It's a fun little tool that they can take with them to remind them of how to pray. So here's the other thing that we're going to do. Again, this is just kind of a silly, fun thing. But as you're talking about bragging, and as you're talking about how sometimes we get over puffed up with pride, we think too much about ourselves, you can tell them that it's kind of like a balloon. So, a couple of things that you can do here. We're going to talk about how sometimes we get too full of ourselves, and it's sort of like we're full of hot air. So you can tell them how maybe you want to brag about something really cool you did, like you made a goal in soccer. Or you drew a really cool picture. And none of these are bad things. It's important to remind the kids. It's not bad to be glad that you do things or to be happy with what you achieve, but you don't want to get too full of yourself. So you might say, well, I beat my sister to the car. Or I'm going to get a better grade than the person next to me. Or I'll bet my mom is prouder of my spelling than my brother's. Something to where you are boasting and bragging. So, two things you can do here. You can tie this off and have the kids make it into a face. So you're going to need some Sharpies or some permanent markers of sorts, and they can make this into bragging Bob or bragging Billy, and just have them have fun with it. Draw a silly face, maybe make some funky eyebrows, maybe give him a big old mouth that he's going to brag with, or something. You can give him some hair. Have the kids have fun with it. And then a couple of things that you can do. They can take this with them just as a silly reminder, because who doesn't love a balloon? Or they can talk about how sometimes when you get too puffed up, it winds up not being so great. And so if you want to get a little crazy, maybe with older kids, you can have them have their bragging Billy or Bob or Brad or whatever, and then you can help them come around and see how bragging is not always so good. Or you can just, maybe with little kids, talk about that bragging. And when we get carried away and puffed up with ourselves, sometimes we lose hold of the important thing and it disappears. So those are sort of more in-class illustrations. And then your craft can be your takeaway with your prayer booklet. So have fun, get funky, get creative, don't brag, be humble, have a great time, make disciples. See you next time.